passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the down pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Let's try that one again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the OGRL Coffee Cup Round 6 from Misano, the final race of their first season. It's myself, JP, and I'm in the booth with Mr. Bradley Dalton here, who's going to come and join me for what plans to be an epic race. Let's have a look at the scores first on the doors at the moment. In the AMs, you can see Daniel Marie out in front on 164, very close with Gary Spencer on 163. Then you got JT Sawyer 159, James Hillerick 149 with Jose Valentin on 147, Mike Elliott 144, Joey Mines on 140. It's all very close in the AM Championship with Ben Groves, Heath Ollinger and Scott Carlson not very far away at all either. In the Pro-Ams, Quinton Price is out in front with Bradley Tidwell in second. Again, not very far apart. Mark Bolton, Pernell Hanley, William Bailey, Kenny Bourgeois, Michael Chaplin and Brian Hoskins are there in 8th place. And Stuart Gibbons, Barry Acker, Buzzy Mongrode, Nicholas Marshall and Eric Gainsell are all rounding out the top 13. Again, it's very close in the championships. And then we go to the pros. Look at this. Joshua Heron is out in front on 243 with Sean Riley on 242. Bradley Lovins on 236. Again, very, very close in the championship. Michael Dione 221, Cole Modric 216, and Jeremy Cheney, Rick Modric, Bill Backer, Brian Dukowski, and David Van Roy with Ryan Miriam, Alan Purser, Kenneth Clodin, Philip De La Cruz, Mitchell Bowie, Caleb Pocock. They're rounded out your top 16 on that one. All very, very close. But we are at Misano. The format itself, well, we will be going into qualifying shortly, and then we will be going into a 90-minute race. 90 minutes of racing here as well. They've got 65% fuel, so they will need pit stops. Let's bring Bradley Dalton into the booth. Brad, good afternoon, good morning for you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to you, James. I hope everyone's doing well. It's an Italian track that we're at. It's Misano. It's going to be a fun one here. This is a track that is really enjoyable, and you look at the track map, it's got plenty of good passing opportunities, and 90 minutes around this track, it's just going to be a case of, don't do what we're seeing on the screen right now. Somebody's spinning there doing a couple of donuts to round out practice, and trying to get their donuts in early this morning with their coffee as we go through. It's going to be a fun, challenging morning, and I think what really gets me excited for this is that the championship is still all up for grabs. I can't tell you right now who the championship winners are. There's nobody going in with just, that certified, very simple, they've just got to show up and race. No matter where they finish, they win. If any of these top runners have a bad day here, it's game over.
Yeah, I agree. It's literally winner takes all. That's basically what I can work out. We will obviously bring you up the provisionals, but until they're actually announced in the community, then we can give you a rough idea of who wins where and who's doing what. But obviously take it into consideration. You're asking commentators to do maths, and well, as it's shown previously, we're not on top form sometimes when it comes to doing maths, Brad, especially when I'm trying to do them at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do math at 9 in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, my 9 a.m. math skills are not better than your 4 a.m. math skills, so I might leave the math to you, but that still feels dangerous. So how about we just play the game of, we'll give you a provisional answer, but if you want the official answer, you need to join the Discord.
Yeah, that works for me, I think, on this one as well. Tarina, so proud of Quinton standings. Yeah, Quinton Price there as well in the Pro-Ams, out in front by 7 points. It's going to be very, very exciting. We have just come to the end of practice before we go into qualifying. Okay, so Misano, right? It's a very interesting circuit, I think. I'm not a lover of this circuit, right? I've got to be honest. It just, I don't know. It's got a lot to it, but I'm wondering if also it's got too much to it, Brad.
I can see that. 2.6 miles around this track. It can present, sometimes people do think, longer circuits are a little bit much. I think for the drivers, they're going to be fairly content with it. I think 90 minutes will be just the right amount of time. It is a track that typically sees DTM and GT World Challenge here, and of course European trucks have raced here. So James, you're European. I don't know if European trucks is a thing that you keep up with, but they do race here as well, which is interesting to think that the circuit is built for trucks as well as motorcycles, all being considered.
Well, I don't know if you've ever driven trucks, right? Trucks is very, very interesting. I drove them in ACC, or AC, I should say, and it was the best fun I've had in a simulator racing for ages. And I was I think I was in a Scania or something. It was very, very exciting, let's be this way. And I've never laughed so much while driving at all, to be blatantly honest. But I think I'd love to see that. In fact, I'm tempted to go on YouTube after this and try and hunt out the trucks at Misano, because I think that would be an iconic thing to watch as well. And the fact that you've got a circuit that's got so much utility and can be utilized for multiple different forms of racing, I think just goes to show how sort of much credit we have to give the racetrack for the fact that it can be used for multiple disciplines.
Yeah, and the design of a track has to be very, very well put together for it to be something that can hold on to multiple disciplines and run through. And of course, this circuit was purpose-built back in 1969, initially under private ownership. In the 69 and 70 year is when it was started, and then it started running about 72. And you know, it's interesting to look at because it hasn't changed that much really since it was designed back in, you know, the late 60s, early 70s. The biggest thing is that they've added the Curva del Rio and the Variante down at the end, the little bottom sort of pointing boot looking thing that you see at the bottom of the track map out of the start finish line. It used to just cut completely to the right and go back up, and they extended it out a bit, and I think it's a good extension. It's a good run through, and you know, it's going to present unique challenges and, like I said, plenty of passing opportunities and good moments for this 90 minutes.
Yeah, right. I think there's going to be a lot of it on here. You know, they're going to have 90 minutes. They're going to get used to the circuit as well. You can use it almost as a practice. The 90-minute race, the first sort of 35, 45 minutes of it, because you've got so much time of it left. You know, they've got to just make sure they're aware it is 90 minutes long. It's not a short course. It's fairly long in length. They can take their time with it. They can, you know, play it corner by corner by corner and go and have some fun with it. I think that's the thing. They've got to remember what the purpose of why they're sat there for. It is all to have as much fun as you can on a racetrack and try and win. And obviously when you've got the likes of some of the people sat at the top of the championship at the moment, it's a little bit more serious. Daniel Marie, Gary Spencer, JT Sawyer in the AMs, and you've got Herring, Riley and Lovin in the pros, Price, Tidwell and Bolton in the pro-ams, and I think that, you know, they're the guys that are going to be looking at pushing. They're the guys that are going to want to be at the top of the standings. They're the guys that are going to try and go hell to leather almost, because, you know, let's not forget there's no reverse grids or anything like that. It's set by quality, away they go. So I'm interested to see. I am going to be very interested to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really fun one to watch, go through. And the 60% fuel load is also something I like, because you do have to factor in a bit of pit strategy across 90 minutes. This isn't going to be a simple little jaunt down and around and through. It's 90 minutes of action, and you've got to keep in mind that 60% fuel load. I think realistically, if we were running 100% fuel, these guys would be able to make it on just one pit stop right near the end. But with the 60% fuel, we're looking at least 2 pit stops by my calculations, which, again, 9 a.m. math. Don't quote me on anything I say here when it comes to the mathematics, but 2 pit stops at least, I would say, through. So they've got to factor that in as well, and that'll add, you know, another mix, because you've got to be on your P's and Q's to nail your pit stops. That is something that a lot of drivers I find neglect, and it really comes to bite them in the long run when they get into longer races like this. If you don't practice and you're not nailing your pit stops, it can cost you seconds. And in a tight race like this with tight championship contentions, that could be the difference between winning your championship and being in P2.
Yeah, I'm not a pit stop cycle. How can I put it? I don't have the ability to do maths with midway through the race. So my pit stop cycle will be run it out, rely on crew chief to fill me back up to what I need, and off I go again. That would be it. That was all I could probably muster, to be honest with you, Brad. Trying to drive and do math and pit stop, no. That would be it for me.
Well, and to be honest, that's kind of all you need to do in a race like this. It's just fill it all the way up and go. I wouldn't try to do any sort of maths. And of course, iRacing does make it nice and simple because they do have the checkmark button you can hit that will just auto fill your car up and will, give you the fuel you need to get as far as you need to go. So when you get down to that final pit stop, you don't really need to do the math of, well, I need X, Y, Z gallons put in to go ABC amount of time, which equates to HIJK laps. You can just, check a button. It makes it easier, but some of the guys are
there, Brad. There was a lot of alphabet there, mate.
Yeah,
I could do the alphabet this time of day. Good afternoon, Phil. Thank you very much. Cameron Caden, sup, nerds? You survived, Cameron. Don't you worry. I'll come and get you next season. Mike O'Reilly, let's go O'Reilly there as well. And obviously, Phil keeping up the conversation, which is absolutely amazing once more. But I just think that this is going to be a decider and a half for these guys. This is going to be the moment upon moments where they will, go for it, and they have to go for it. And I'll be interested to see who comes out on top. And this is going to be an epic 90 minutes, guys, as well. So if if you've got to sit back and watch for 90 minutes, get your drinks, get your popcorn in, grab some food, and enjoy this, because I think it's going to be a very, very exciting one as well. Cameron Risley, I'm going to have to flip a coin to decide who to root for. Both of my race teammates are P1 and P2 for Pro-Am. Good luck and good racing. Okay. So we've got Quinton Price and Bradley Tidwell. Good luck, Cameron, on that one. I'd probably just cheer for both, to be sensible, to be blatantly honest. Ryan Miriam topping qualifying here on a 1:34.78. 736. Joshua Hearn in second. Kenny Bourgeois leading the Pro-Ams. Brian Dudkowski in fourth there. Brian has switched over to the pink Roxy livery machine there as well. He was orange a couple of weeks ago and it did kind of throw everybody out, but now he's gone over to the pink. James Hillerick leads the AMS with Gary Spencer in second. So we're going to have to keep an eye out here, Brad, because I've got a funny feeling there's going to be a lot going on.
Absolutely, and I am going to go ahead and just oust myself real quick. Huge fan of AO Racing, absolutely love them. If I had my webcam on, you would see a Rexy plush behind me. So automatic style points plus 100 for the fact that there's a Roxy livery out there and running. 10 out of 10, appreciated. But anyways, as we look through, I like that there's so many cars. It's not a BMW and Porsche dominant field. I like that I see Mustangs, I see Corvettes, I see the Audi, I see a Lamborghini, I see Ferraris. I like that here in OGRL, they're not just like a dominant league that all say, you know what, I'm going to run the Porsche and I'm going to run the BMW because it's the simplest, easiest car to drive. And that is true to an extent, but when you start getting the Corvettes and the Ferraris and the Mustangs out, they all have their advantages that I think will really come to light here at Misano as we go through. But yes, a BMW and a Porsche are typically going to be your traditional GT3 cars, but I like the variety of manufacturers here, and it's going to go to show in links just how that race folds out. And I like that an Audi's on top right now with Mr. Ryan Merriam.
Yeah, Ryan Merriam is in the Audi on a 1:34.736. Sean Riley in third as well. Hold on a minute. Let's bring it up. I've got Mr. George Parfitt who's just walked into the office, who's supposed to be qualifying, mind you. Is there a reason you're not qualifying, young sir? No, there isn't. That was a short and sweet interview. Cheers. Right, off you go. Short and sweet interview with my son there. Why are you qualifying? Literally, right? I can tell you why he's not qualifying, because he ain't long been out of bed, that lazy little week. Summer holidays in the UK, so I can tell you that I woke him up with about 15 minutes of practice to go. So that'd be why he's not qualifying, but to be fair, it's probably safer. Tweeting the champ, personally, I say root for Quinton. Sorry, Bradley, still a fan. There you go. Never mind. let's root for who we want, and we'll do it and see how they get on there as well, because I think this could be a very, very exciting way. I'll be the Tidwell super fan for this race. Somebody's got to do it. Bradley in the only Lamborghini on the race circuit.
I like it. I like the guts to be Bradley Tidwell and be in the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is a GT3 car that doesn't get near enough love. It's a car that honestly is a lot of fun to drive, though. If you really get into it and you learn it and you master it, it is a car that is a lot of fun and extremely competitive, but it's got its little quirks here and there that you have to get over. And once you do, that car can absolutely put pressure on the field. So I like the fact that Bradley Tidwell is in that Lamborghini, and he's been pretty competitive and pretty good throughout the season, as I've seen. So we'll see kind of where he lands himself in the mix, because he's currently sitting P2 in his class, and he's not that far off. So, you know, if he has a good race here and Quentin Price doesn't have a good race, we'll see a Lamborghini at the top of the Pro-Ams.
Yeah, Jonathan Williams has just separated Kenny Bourgeois and Bradley Tidwell, so Bradley is currently sat in third place. Bradley Lovings turning up traditionally late, as he normally does do. Yeah, so I think he's only been in the session probably about 10 minutes before qualifying. So another one that's really just sat and cheered, sort of chilled out and then come and gone there as well. Weather-wise, I've just been asked, here is 20 degrees centigrade on 19 degrees air temperature. Now, I haven't seen any predictions of rain. I haven't seen any, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. All right, so there you go. We'll keep an eye out for it and see how we get on. 2.5 minutes left of qualifying, and it is just Bradley Lovins out on the track. Everybody else in the pit lane. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, do all that other fancy jazz that you can do for completely free here on YouTube as well, and sit back and enjoy the racing, because I think we're going to have some fun here, Brad, and I think... Yeah, well, I think the championships are going to be very, very tight, and I think whoever's going to have to sit back and try and work them out at the end of this is going to be a better man than me and you.
Yeah, that's not going to be me and you at all. And I will tell you right now, I hope these guys are nice and awake and going. And James, I'm going to ask you a very important question. Is there any sort of bias that's going to go in here for your son? Your son, of course, racing, running through. Are we rooting for the George Parfitt here at JP Broadcasting? Are we giving a little bit of extra love towards a Mr. George Parfitt for a last to first challenge?
Well, last week he flew up 15 places within the first 2 laps. And then, unfortunately, lost it on the Ferradura, spun it up and stuck it in the wall. So the thing with my son is he can get going quite well, and he has his moments, but then he'll make a silly mistake, get frustrated with himself, and then make more silly mistakes. So I'm hoping that if he keeps his score, but there's no bias on the JBB YouTube channel. Last week, however, I did pick up on the fact that he did make up 15 places in 2 laps. That was due to the fact that could have been anybody making up 15 places. He made up 8 places at Sao Paulo by the end of the first straight. So, you know, it wasn't biased. It was just recognizing that the fact that, oh my God, he's just made up that many places. And it could have been anybody, to be blatantly honest. So as much as I would love to say, yes, Brad, we can cheer him on. Well, we can show him a little bit of love, but I can't be too biased, because otherwise I'll have Bradley Lovins messaging me saying, why is nobody else on the camera?
Okay, fair enough, but we will be keeping our eyes back to see what he does. If he's running 15 places in the matter of 1 to 2 laps, I mean, we're going to have to keep our eyes on him back near the back of the pack. I'm looking through, and I'm trying to see if there's any big names that are out of place to where I expect them to be in terms of the championship versus the leaderboards right now, and I don't see anyone too out of place. But then again, when you've got the whole field separated by just a couple of seconds, I mean, it's really, really hard to sort of sit in and say, you know what, anyone's out of place. You've got this entire field separated by the top 27 by less than 3 seconds. So when you do that sort of math, 27 cars in 3 seconds, it's hard to really put someone out of place. But qualifying's come to the end here, James, and we get ready for 90 minutes of action.
Yeah, we do. Don't forget there is a pace lap as well, so we will keep an eye on that one. Just wait for the session to swap over, and then we will go and bring you up the grid. I'm just going to try and make sure that's done that way. And let's see. Oh, do you know what? I do this every time, Brad. Every single time, because most people do qualifying and go to the grid, right?
Yep.
Here
we have a 5-minute warm-up.
5-minute warm-up. That is every single week. I forget the 5-minute warm-up. So we've got 5 minutes yet before we can bring you up the grid, guys, as well. So, yeah, once again, Brad, I've forgotten the 5-minute warm-up.
Traditions. That's all I can say. And I will tell you right now, there are certain traditions that a Sunday morning is very, very nice. I've already heard my Dutch national anthem this morning, and so we are nice and pretty and set, and I'm ready for a good Sunday morning of racing. I don't know about everyone else, but my plan is OGRL here, watch them go through, and then I'm going to go find breakfast and some coffee myself, and then I see a Ferrari in the background spinning. Traditions. That's all I'm going to say. Sunday morning traditions.
Well, we don't, we might as well show him off. As I say, any favoritisms for my son, well, this would be it.
Is he running a Sky Sports livery?
Yes. Yes.
And he's driving a Ferrari, and he spun.
Yes.
All right, I know you can't be biased, James, because JP Broadcasting Network. I'm going to be a little biased. That's just pure comedy. That's enjoyable. And also, hello, Rexy. Heath Ollinger, 10 out of 10. Anyone running the AO Racing livery gets style points from me.
Well, that's Heath Ollinger and Brian Dudkowski. They're in one of each.
That is...
He's in green, Dudkowski's in pink.
Yep, so Rexy and Roxy have showed up, which I'm quite a fan of. And, of course... If you are keeping up with AO Racing at VIR this weekend, they are, of course, running Roxy this weekend and not Rexy. So Roxy getting some love, both virtual and real life, which I am quite a fan of.
Nice. There you go. Well, wonderful. Do you follow them then, Brad? Do you? Are you like a secret super fan?
Honestly, yes, I am. And it all started... last season, but when I went to Daytona in January, that's where it really, really picked up because I got to see Spike as well, which is AO Racing's LMP2 category car. And that is really where things picked up for me is with that. And then I've kept up with them all season. I haven't watched every IMSA race live and, sat down and, hardcore stared at the TV screen for 12 hours at every race, but I've kept up just a little bit with it to go through, and I believe that Rexy and Roxy should both have 2 gold teeth because AO Racing have, of course, won 2 races in the GT3 category, so there should be 2 gold teeth on the front of those cars if they were to be accurate to real life.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be down to a designer messing around with their livery schemes and putting the 2 gold teeth on, to be fair, Brad. Let's be real. It's not the most easiest thing to do in designing liveries for these cars. So we'll see how they get on. Yeah, but that would be cool if they had 2 gold teeth on them. I'm not gonna lie.
It would be, and I'll tell you, one of my favorite little tidbits of information is if you see the Rexy livery with a broken arm and an arm cast up, that means that Rexy has wrecked and they have repaired the car, and they put that little cast on the side of the arm there to signify that they repaired the car. And sometimes it'll be missing teeth, and the joke online will be that Rexy needs to see the dentist. So if you ever want to keep up with AO Racing, of course we're not sponsored here or anything, I'm just a big fan. That is some fun tidbits to know about their cars, is that they do the little extra things to get the fans engaged, and that's part of why I like them. Is it's not just a racing team, that's dedicated to racing and hardcore racing. They do that little extra to get fans engaged and get people involved, and I always like that about a team. That's a little gimmicky way to get me to become a big fan of your team, is don't just, be the best at racing, but also do those little extra things to get your fans involved and sort of get the extra support from people of all ages.
Well, I think that's pretty cool. I think that is cool. I think, more teams should look at trying to get that involved, get people involved and stuff like that, because I think that's that's a pretty cool thing to do, and it gives something for people to spot as well, you know, at the beginning, or what's happened here, as you know, and go and investigate what's gone on. So I think that's pretty neat of them to go and do that as well. Right, practice has now come to an end, or the warm-up. Now we're going to get into the qualifier, into the grid, hopefully. I don't think I've forgotten any more warm-ups or anything like that that's taken place. I swear I need to write things down. Ryan Merriam will be on pole position. Joshua Heron in second and Sean Riley in third. Bradley Lovins in fourth. Kenny Bourgeois in fifth and Jonathan Williams in sixth place. Bill Backer in seventh. Dadkowski eighth. And then we've got Alan Purser ninth. Bradley Tidwell, Philippe Dela Cruz in 10th. Jeremy Cheney in 11th. And Bradley Tidwell down in 12th. Moving on, Quinton Price in 13th, Eric Gainsell 14th, William Bailey 15th, Cole Modric is there in 16th place. Then you've got Barry Acker, Mark Bolton, Rick Modric and James Hillerick rounding out the top 20. Gary Spencer, Joey Mines, Michael Chaplin and Scott Carlson. Brian Hoskins in 25th, Pernell Hannell at 26th, JT Toyers 27th, Nick Marshall 28th, Clyde Comfort 29th, Heath Ollinger 30th. Then you've got Dean Carroll, Mike Elliott, Daniel Murray, George Parfitt and Tyshawn Green towards the back end of the grid here as well. So settle in, guys, and make sure that you've got everything you need for the next hour and a half of racing. I think I've got everything. I've got my missus on speed dial just in case I need a drink halfway through. I'm all good, Brad.
Yeah, I think I'm all good. I'm awake. I've got a bottle of water. I've got some caffeine. I think I'm going to be pretty good for the next hour and a half buckled in. So we'll make it through one way or another, and we'll see how things go here as the pace lap has started, James. And we look up front, and it's an Audi and a Porsche and a Beamer and a Mustang. So no one dominant manufacturer here, which tells me that this track is very, very well balanced, and as it should be, it's going to produce some great racing. And I'm looking at championship implications all the way up and down as well, and again, nothing's clear. I cannot tell you one way or the other who's going to win this championship.
No.
Who's going to win any of the championships, for that matter.
No, I think it's going to be who finishes first will be the winner. I don't think Nick Marshall or Tyson Green have got out onto the grid here. Looks like Dean Murray Carroll may have had an issue at the back. Nope, he's still going, so he's all good. But we're going to be getting this underway now on the run up here. Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you. Got to get ready for the 90 minutes, and I will tell you the British summer is nice and sneezy. I've never been to the UK.
Thanks for that, mate, for covering the fact that I was sneezing as well.
Yeah,
at the most predicted time here as we're on the run down Curva Tramonto before we go in through the Curva 1, and then we've got about 4 more corners to go here as well. So, yeah. Let's sit back and enjoy and get ready. Guys, don't forget, show some love for your favourite drivers. Stacey Merriam, go Ryan! She says, who's at the top, of course, Ryan Merriam. A lot of love, as always, for these guys. And I think this is the fact that they're running a series at like 9 a.m. Eastern, and yet still get nearly 30-odd cars, or 30, what have we got, 33 cars on racetrack. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and it goes to show that there is a lot of love for mornings in the U.S. And, you know, it really sets up well for time of day because the majority of everyone here is U.S. based. So it goes to show that sometimes people just want to relax on a Sunday morning and have some fun. It's something I like. I really do enjoy this series, even though usually I wouldn't be up this early. I've, of course, covered these guys here on the JP network a bit in the past, and I'm not usually awake this early as of late, but, you know, waking up, getting the call, and getting to hang out with some racing, it's what people enjoy. It's something that everyone loves. But pace car's about to peel off here, James. I'm going to hand it over to you for the race start, sir.
Yeah. Right, here we go. The moment we've all been waiting for. Round 6 of the OGRL Coffee Cup GT3. Ladies and gentlemen, with Ryan Merriam at the front, Joshua Heron, and we are green, green, green. Merriam has absolutely bolted off at the beginning there. He's going to take the inside line for turn number 1. You can see the 2 free wide further back as well as they're coming into the corner. It's all going to be settling down as they are at the moment. Merriam on the run now. Variante de Palco going down into Curva Rio, the right-hander now. Merriam's going to make it through. He is still going to be there in first place. He's taken the whole shot. Joshua Heron, Sean Riley, Bradley Lovins, Kenny Bourgeois for leading the Pro-Ams, currently sitting in 5th place. Bill Backer in behind that as well. Gary Spencer leading the AMs. Jumped James Hillerich at the start. Got the job done for him here as well. Great action so far, Brad, and Ryan Merriam got a start of his life.
Yeah, Ryan Merriam doing exactly what Ryan Merriam needed to do there. The big goal was to get away early, get away fast, and get up front, set the precedent, and make it where you don't have to worry about Mr. Josh Heron or Sean Riley back behind you. And that is exactly what he's done. He's taken off, he's gotten away well, and he just needs to maintain it for 90 minutes, which, well, it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to do it. And of course, Bill Baca, and I will always remember to pray for Bill. I've prayed for Bill this morning. Bill Baca going for a good run here on the inside, trying to make some moves, trying to move his way forward there in the Ferrari. And actually, no, he's in the Corvette now, and he is pretty comfortable there, made his way through. He is battling out. This is, of course, going to be with Kenny here, the leader of the Pro-Ams, and getting through, and we keep things nice and pretty up front.
Yeah, Barry Acker is not keeping things nice and pretty. He is off the side of the circuit as Barry. How did you end up there? Was there... Oh, this is going to be a Porsche doing whatever it likes. Yep. Round it goes.
And barely avoided contact there with the 71. But, you know, here's the good thing, James.
What's that about a Porsche? Go on, tell me.
Here's the good thing. It's a 90-minute race.
Yep.
So if you think about the fact that we're only 2 minutes into 90 minutes here, Barry Acker's got plenty of time to make up from that and get his way forward.
Yeah, I do think you are correct as well, and I think there's plenty of time here again. Let's have a look at the biggest movers on the left-hand side. You can see only a couple up 2 places there as well. George Parfitt up 10. We're halfway through that too. Clearly got the start of his life once more there as well. Dean Murray Carroll up 5 places there once again. So little mini Parfitt flying once more up 10 places here. Yeah, hard to ignore regardless, to be blatantly honest. And James Hillerick, oh, there's been a big one at the back. That's oh. How did that one materialize? This is Hoskins, Joe Mines.
Okay, so Hoskins goes around.
Oh.
And then he's sitting stationary and just gets hit there in the corner because there's not a lot he can do. So Brian Hoskins is in the mix here. And then, of course, you've got a mini Parfitt, goes up the inside, clean pass, washes out wide on the curb, and taps Hoskins around. And then if we go back to Hoskins, he just collects more people sitting stationary. It looks like Clyde Comfort, Pernell Hanlett, Daniel Moore, and Joey Mines all involved in that as well.
Yeah. There might be some suck it up to do there for the youngster after this race, but we've still got time. We've still got 1 hour and 26 minutes on the clock, which seems absolutely ages of time, Brad, for these guys to settle in and get comfortable, doesn't it?
It's a lot of time to get comfortable, but it's not near enough. And I will tell you right now, we just did, of course, the 90 minutes of CODA yesterday here on the JP Broadcasting Network. It's not a lot of time. 90 minutes does not give you near enough time as you think to really settle in. You've got to be on your P's and Q's through. Yes, you do have that mid-race lull that's going to hit, and everybody's going to hit that time to breathe. But you can see here early on, the first 15 minutes or so, these guys are going to be pushing really hard to move their way forward and to get their races moving. So for the first 15, 20 minutes, especially if you're up at the front right now and you know you're fighting for a championship, you got to be on your P's and Q's, and you really got to keep the car on track. Now, once we hit, halfway and a little bit past halfway, the drivers are really going to lull out and just sort of be running their own time, their own deltas, and then we'll hit near the end and everybody's going to pick it right back up. So that's going to be how these 90 minutes swing, and I will be surprised if the racing doesn't stay this close, this competitive the whole way through.
Yeah, I think with the amount of things on the line here, I think this is going to be interesting. Alan Purser having a go at Jonathan Williams coming down into turn 1. Is he going to be able to get through? This is 2 BMWs here fighting it out. Obviously, the BMW Purser is in a Lexus livery there, Brad. So that could be an interesting one. I think we made that mistake once before, haven't we?
I have made that mistake once before, and we see Cruz trying to make a dive up the inside and then just not having the grip to capitalize there. So Purser just says, all right, good try, thank you very much, and I'll send it back around. He is, of course, it'd be nice to have the Lexus here in iRacing. It's not there yet. I would like to say fingers crossed it will come soon, but until then, the BMW is about the closest in shape, body style, and run you're going to get. So I can see why he picks that car.
Yeah, definitely, and I think be interesting to see the amount of times they release GT3s. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get another one at some point here. TCRs, please. TCRs, hello. Get some love for them, that would be amazing. But Dudkowski is here in the mix, and he's got Dela Cruz in front of him at the moment. That is what Dudkowski is looking at through the right-hander coming down into Curva de Caro. The right-hander hairpin back on themselves. They're going to go up on that run through the final corner of Curva Misano, which is the left-hander. Not this one, it's going to be this one, the second one of the two. And through that left-hander we go. Dudkowski again having a nice little run in that Porsche there, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how some of these can close up. Right, let's give you a quick rundown, or try to give you a quick rundown on standings at this moment in time. Heron is at the front of the pros. I know Ryan Merriam is there, but Ryan Merriam's not really in the championship standings, okay? So I'm going with championship top three. Heron leading the pros with Riley Lovings. So the same as what they are on the standings is exactly what they are on here. In the Pro-Ams, Kenny Bourgeois is literally, 19 points off Quinton Price. So Kenny, although he's leading the Pro-Ams, is not really in the championship fight. Neither is Jonathan Williams either, to a degree, on that one. So it's going to be with the Tidwell Gainesville Price situation. Tidwell is ahead of Price, but only by 2 spots, which is only 2 points, which isn't enough for him to take this season's championship away. In the AM Championship, we have got Daniel Marie is leading the championship, but it's Gary Spencer leading the AM fight at the moment, with James Hillerick in second place. Again, James might be a little bit too far away. Where is Daniel? Daniel was all the way down here in the Mercedes, and he must have had his own little ta-ta-ta here, which is what he did do, because he did end up losing positions. So for Daniel, he's going to have a little bit of a struggle of a fight on his hands. Is this that Mercedes? No, he got caught up, and yes. That was in that earlier incident. So poor old Daniel was down in 7th, but at the moment it's looking like Gary Spencer can take that championship. In the Pro-Ams it's not quite as clear, and in the Pros it's not quite as clear either. So yeah, they're going to have to see how they get on here and fight their way through, Brad.
Yeah, and here's the thing that really gets interesting with it when you think about it. We're only 10 minutes into a 90-minute race, so in 80 minutes, everything you just said could be completely thrown off and just rip the paper up, throw it away, and it won't count. So where it is right now, you know, if you're in that position to win and you're in that good, steady, consistent spot, you need to hold on to that for another 80 minutes. So stay smooth, stay consistent, stay locked in to your race, and I think you'll be just fine for most of these guys here. The championships are going to wind up very close, though, and I really do like that. I like how close this championship battle is, that it's not just, you know, one driver's ran away with it. I like that really we're in a position right now where there's 3 or 4 drivers who, if one thing goes around backwards, can change everything. And what has George Parfitt done here? As we see, he comes around, little bit of a snap, the front end's got some damage, he goes through, and that looked like a wheel disconnect, honestly.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think so as well. I will do some digging on that one, but it did look like his wheel disconnected, unfortunately, for him this time around. So not a great end to the season for George on that one, as he looks like he is out of the race. So we'll keep an eye. But Sean Riley and Joshua Heron going out, battling away with each other down through the Cava del Rio to go through the right-hander. Now through the left. Is Riley going to be able to get hold of this Porsche? That's going to be the question.
I think he can. I think he's just got to pick the right time to go for a pass, and that's going to be the big thing. You see, he's ducking a little bit here and there. He's kind of looking around to the inside, looking to the outside. He's looking to do a slightly different line than Heron, and he wants to get that pass set up. And, you know, he seems fairly comfortable here as they go around and continue their lap. They come through the Tramonto curve here, and they are looking fairly smooth. Riley losing a little bit of time there on the exit, but I think that is all to set up as they come through the Curvone down into Curva del Caro. This long back straight is, I'm going to call it, and trying to just look for something. I do think that Riley looks a little bit more stable than Heron, though. He's just not capitalizing, really, and maybe that's a decision, a pace decision, a comfort decision, and maybe really Riley is, you know, actually pushing harder than I think.
Well, I think, to be fair, there's a massive opportunity for fuel saving here, and I think that's the thing. It can fuel save completely. You know, Mark Bolton, Scott Spencer, Hillary, Chaplin, Hoskins, all in behind him, and again, they're all able to fuel save as well. You know, at the end of the day, you've got that 90 minutes. If you can eliminate that second stop, great. If you can't, then you might as well go full hell to leather. But I think if you can eliminate the second one, which I think, give or take, roughly we said, didn't we, would be round about what they need. But I think overall, you know, if they are going to be trying to fuel save, they really want to be doing it, start doing it now, right at the beginning of this race, as Quentin Price has got Cole Modric tucked up behind him.
Yeah, we're going to see Price and Modric here continue to battle, and of course that is going to be one that I think gets very interesting as well as we watch them go through. Quentin Price, of course, in a different class than Cole, but Cole is going to be saying, you know what, I need to clear you really quick, Quentin. I need to get around you because I need to gain 5 seconds on Cheney and move forward. And Corvette deep on the brakes here. Good move up the inside and nice and clean. Plenty of room left. And that is a pass done and dusted. 5.5 seconds now. He's got to make up to Cheney if he can, as he tries to move his way forward and continue his way up the field. And again, just clean pass and now just accelerate hard.
Yeah, just keep going as fast as you possibly can here for Cole Modric. He's cleared Quentin Price now, so Price is down, is 6th in class, 16th overall. I'm guessing he's probably not too worried, as we've still got an hour and 17 minutes on the clock, and I think plenty of time. Plenty of time. Sit back, chill, get into your rhythm, get into your groove, and I think that's going to be the main story of this race.
Yeah, really. And if you've seen any of the Pixar movies, I'm going to say one thing and you'll know exactly what it is Cruz goes up the inside here and is trying to get his pass done on Purser and not able to make that Audi stick. Purser in the wannabe Lexus gets a very, very good, comfortable little setup there. And there's another dive coming from Felipe De La Cruz. He's really, really trying to just put pressure on Purser and get the move done here. But back to my little quote here, just keep swimming, as Felipe De La Cruz runs very wide. Just keep swimming.
Just keep
is
swimming.
The motto for me for these long races.
Just keep swimming. Well,
yes.
That's Finding Nemo, isn't it? As he's gone wide, unfortunately, for Felipe De La Cruz. He has gone wide. He's got Jeremy Cheney now in front. Poor old Felipe De La Cruz ran a little bit wide, and he hasn't. He's got Jonathan Williams, I should say, in front with Dudkowski and Alan Purser there. So yeah, not good, unfortunately, for Felipe De La Cruz, but I'm sure he'll keep going as these guys continue to fight it out. James Hillerick, Gary Spencer in the AMs have got Michael Chaplin, Brian Hoskins and Barry Acker behind in 8th and 9th, 10th in the Pro-Ams with Carlson and JT Sawyer. JT Sawyer 25th at the moment. He needs to really be ahead of Gary Spencer currently. So for JT, he's got some work cut out for him.
Yeah, he's not doing a bad job, though, JT Sawyer. Again, he's being smooth, he's being consistent, but he does work his way forward here and find a way ahead, and that is going to be the big thing. But again, we're only 15 minutes into this race, plenty of time left, and he's running nice and smooth so far. And that's the big thing I see is, he's being consistent through his lap times, he's being consistent through, he's keeping himself out of incidents, and he's going to just continue to push there in that Corvette as he continues. And that's going to be the big key for everyone, is continuing through. Riley is again up in the front, putting some pressure on Heron, and Heron just trying to hold off and keep the defense, but really they need to be trying to gain on Merriam. 3.5 seconds the gap, and that Audi of Ryan Merriam has decided to take off. He disappears off the bottom left corner of your screen, and Heron and Riley are just kind of stuck where they're at. They're not gaining time, they're slowly losing time, but they're kind of in a league of their own right now.
Yeah, they're kind of just fighting for themselves, and I think there is a hint of fuel saving going on, and I think that's going to be the situation. Let's see. We could just hear if he's lifting. He'll be coming down here into turn 1.
Yeah. I think there is a little bit of fuel saving going. I think they are going to try to make a strategy game out of it, honestly.
Yeah, I think Riley's got the opportunity, hasn't he, to do that. I think that's the thing being followed. I think Riley has got the opportunity to go and basically sit in and just try and save as much as he possibly can. He's not completely lifted, mind you, but he's kind of not, would probably say, attacking the corners as much as what he would have thought he would have liked. Alan Purser, however, is attacking poor old Kenny Bourgeois, and Kenny's sitting in 6th in the Pro-Ams at the moment, doing a great job for him leading the Pro-Ams. Probably one of these people that's probably could sit back and say he's not entirely happy with his season, as Purser has gone through on Bourgeois there, and I think Bourgeois' inconsistency might have had something to do with it, and generally not all his own fault.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That it could have something to do, and I do think some of it could have, just to do with the nature of a Mustang. Mustangs don't like corners, but Mustangs go very fast in straight lines, and so I do think that even though I said all the cars are fairly evenly matched here and fairly nice, I think the Mustang might just, in handling characteristics, be a little bit down on the BMW as we go through. Purser half a second off. He's not really making strides though on this Mustang as I thought he would. He's staying, pretty close. Bourgeois is just staying right there in, striking distance if something happens, if Purser has a little bit of a wiggle or any sort of moment, and he can capitalize and get that position back.
Yeah, I think for Kenny, he would probably even admit with himself that, he's had his very up and down season, or the first half of the season. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's just one of them things that, unfortunately, you've got to kind of suck up and go again next season. And, because otherwise you're just going to be, the first sign of insanity, right, is repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And if Kenny's making the same mistakes over and over and over again, then he's not going to be starting to move forward, is he? He's got to look at trying to enhance what he's doing, trying to make himself more consistent. He's clearly got the pace because he's sitting 7th overall at the moment.
Yeah, and I think for Kenny, this will be a big confidence boost for him, really, as he goes through. I think, being up in 7th, having a couple of pros behind you, and being in the mix there for a top 10 and for the lead of your class, that's really what you want to do. Especially, as you said, up and down season for him, this would be a good jump off point for going into next season. You be smooth, be consistent, finish the season out strong, and hit all your marks, do everything right. And that's exactly what Kenny's doing right now as he goes through. He's got Roxy behind him there, the number 99 that he's got to defend from of Dudkowski, and we know Dudkowski's not a slouch, and we know Felipe De La Cruz is not a slouch, but we of course see Bourgeois here. Mr. Kenny is doing a very, very good job of just staying smooth and consistent and hitting his marks. And again, that's what you got to do through 90 minutes, is just hit your marks over and over again for 90 minutes, which, again, it sounds like a tall ask, and it sounds very simple to say it, but these drivers would have been practicing for this, and this is something that they're going to be nice and comfortable with.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you haven't gone out and practiced, well, you know, suck it up, Buttercup. That's on you for not doing the work at the end of the day. You can't sit there and say, oh, you know, I've not practiced this week. Well, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. And I think practice is a big part of this form of racing. You've got to make sure when you're in this multi-class set or multi-classes in Pro-Am and Philippe de la Cruz, I saw a lot more of your front end than I actually wanted to at that moment in time. You know, yeah, you've got to practice when you've got this multi-season there, and that was Clyde Comfer, unfortunately, going off the side of the circuit, to make sure that you can keep up with the guys. You want to be ahead of your class, you want to be ahead of your team, you want to be ahead of your people around you, and unfortunately, it looks like some people haven't quite put the work in and are now obviously sitting down struggling, and, well, unfortunately, that kind of is what it is on that one.
Yeah, and, you know, some drivers, here's the thing, there are some drivers that have so much talent and so much skill that they can jump into a sim rig and they can just take off and be competitive with little to no practice. A couple of sight laps and they are good to go, as we see here. Jeremy Chaney that is having a good run through. Some drivers can do that, don't get me wrong. James, I don't know about you. Of course, you're an MX500 winner, so I presume you have a lot more skill. I am not a driver that can just jump into a rig and be competitive on the go. I need several hours of practice. I need, you know, the ramp up time. I can't just jump in a car and go.
Yeah, I think for me, it's so different due to the fact that obviously I do mainly ovals, right? I don't do these left and rights. I don't like doing the left and rights. It frustrates me, and I generally suck at them. So obviously I do the ovals, which I'm a lot more experienced with. Don't get me wrong, I'm still learning, as Philippe de la Cruz and Kenny Bourgeois decided to go side by side down towards the curve of Tramonto. Kenny in that Mustang in front, Philippe de la Cruz in the Audi. I can guarantee from Bourgeois' point of view right about now, you're leading the Pro-Ams, you've got de la Cruz right tucked up behind you. I would be on the more thing of letting him go here, Brad, partly because I don't really want to get myself into the mix.
Well, I think that's kind of what he's trying to do in a not so obvious way. I think he's trying to let Philippe de la Cruz get through, but he's trying to not compromise either of their laps and their races through. And Philippe de la Cruz is kind of taking the harder route of trying to go for, you know, outside passes, aggressive runs. And here's the thing. I don't know if you've seen a GT3 Mustang in person, but those things are huge when you compare them to every other GT3 car that exists. They are absolutely ginormous. They're not exactly, you know, a car that'll blend in. They stick out, and really, I don't think Kenny's doing anything too wrong. He's running the racing line, and Philippe de la Cruz is going to force the issue there and try to get his way through. But the thing is, Philippe de la Cruz is trying to run outside passes. He's trying to go offline. He's doing everything wrong, honestly. If you're trying to, you know, make a simple pass through, he needs to just get up the inside and go, because if you've noticed, every car behind them is now just right on the back end of Philippe de la Cruz, as he has just continued to push and push and push, and it's just doing nothing but slowing both of them down. And I think Kenny's kind of just, you know, going to be throwing his hands up and saying, what are you doing, man? Like, I've left you the inside 10 times in a row and you haven't taken it. You keep going to the outside. You're doing weird lines. Like, I'm leaving you plenty of room in the right places and you're just not going.
I'm going to object. I don't believe Kenny is. I think Kenny's making this a little bit more difficult than probably what it needs to be. And I'm just saying, right? I know Kenny's going to DM me after watching this back and go, James, what the blinking door are you talking about? I think if he wanted to let him through, Kenny's had loads of opportunities to move out of the way, right? One of them is down that start-finish straight. He could have just pulled to the side and let him take the hole in the inside, and he didn't. And he hasn't done it again here, and he's not doing it again on the run out into the curve of Misano, the final corner. So I think Kenny's making this a little little bit more difficult than what it needs to be. Maybe Kenny just doesn't want to let Philippe De La Cruz through. Maybe he just sees it as De La Cruz is slower than him over the period of time. He doesn't want to let it through. But Kenny isn't making this easy, and I think De La Cruz is having to take this aggressive stance because Kenny's not getting out of the way, right? And nor should he. He doesn't have to. But he is slowing them both down at some points by fighting with De La Cruz. So, me personally, I think De La Cruz has got to try and be this aggressive. There you go. That makes more. There you go. Now he's letting through. That was an obvious let through, right? But he could have done that 3 laps ago.
I think he tried. I honestly think if you go back and watch it, I think he tried.
Brad,
I think he was trying to. Here's the thing, James. Look at the sea of cars behind De La Cruz that was behind him. I think if Kenny was going to let him through, he needed to make it just through and not compromise pace. I don't think he wanted to do anything big because now he's got bigger issues with Dudkowski, Cheney, Williams, and Gansell right there in the mix. And of course, now this turns into a battle of, different classes, just overall positions, to now he might lose his race win if he can't hold off Williams and Gansell and Tidwell for the remainder of this race, which still has 64 minutes to go.
Yeah, but he's still got Dudkowski and Cheney in the middle before he gets to them. This is what I'm saying. The amount of time he had coming into the last few laps, right? He had a plenty more time than what he's got now. And with being with De La Cruz and fighting around and hassling around and clearly not letting him through has cost Bourgeois his own time. Which now, at the end of the day, De La Cruz is in front. I'm hoping De La Cruz should, and is, running away with it. And now Bourgeois has got to try and just go back to driving his line again, open up that gap to Williams, Gansell, Tidwell, and here, and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Why are you all of a sudden? Quinton Price was fighting out with Cole Modric. So yeah, but I think for me that there was just a lot more time that Bourgeois could have saved by allowing De La Cruz through, because look, at the end of the day, if De La Cruz wasn't quicker, he wouldn't be opening up nearly a second on Bourgeois already, right? Am I wrong or am I right on that one?
You are right, but the thing is, I still don't think Felipe De La Cruz is that much faster. We'll see how it shapes up in the race, James. We'll see how it shapes up in the race. We'll hold on to this one in the back of our head for a little bit, because I don't know, because you have Felipe De La Cruz doing stuff like that.
Yeah, but that was a mistake. Everybody made it. Last time out, De La Cruz did a 1:36.5. Bourgeois did a 1:37.5. That's a whole second. Look, these aren't robots. They're not AI. They're not like superhumans. They make mistakes, and De La Cruz literally is just made a mistake. But I expect him to go back and open up that gap again over Bourgeois. If he makes another one, Bourgeois gets through, but that's De La Cruz's through. Suck it up, Buttercup. Stop making the mistakes, innit? But at the end of the day, he made a mistake, and now they're all back together again. But watch the time again. It will go back out. It's 7 tenths already, and it was only 5 corners ago that De La Cruz made the mistake. I think Bourgeois put himself in a situation that he didn't need to put himself in, because clearly De La Cruz has got pace and clearly De La Cruz is quicker. Let us know what you think in YouTube chat, whether or not I'm chatting complete and utter waffle, or the American is correct up here in the booth, who, let's see. Let us know. There's enough of you at home sitting there watching this and listening, so let us know which way you think this should have gone. Jonathan Williams, Eric Gansell, Tidwell and Bailey are all in the Pro-Ams. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th here, all in the Pro-Ams, with Bourgeois obviously 2 places ahead of Dudkowski and Jeremy Cheney up the road there as well. This is one of the closest battles on the race circuit. This is that lull period of time, Brad, before we get to the pit stops, and then we'll get the action back up and running again.
Yep, and Dudkowski has now gotten past Kenny and is through, and now Cheney is going to need to clear him, and then from there, we'll, of course, have a battle for the podium and for the lead positions coming up as we are about to tick off that 30 minutes of 90 out. And this is where we need to see Kenny really, really settle in and get some consistency on the table and get his way forward as we go through. And I just worry that Mustang isn't handling as well on this track as maybe he wants it to as we go through. I do worry that maybe the Mustang just doesn't have enough to give in the corners. Again, it's a big it's a big GT3 car, and handling, it's not bad, it's not a slouch, but it is probably just not going to handle as well as the BMW or the Audi are on the corners. It's got plenty of power in the straightaway though, where it can compete through. I worry that Kenny might have had his time up, but of course, as you said, James, pit stop cycles not too far away, and once pit stop cycles start, I think that may be a determining factor in our races here today, because some of the spreads are opening up. But again, if you haven't practiced those green flag pit stops and practiced getting in the box, stopping, getting everything done, and getting back out and as quick as possible, you can lose several seconds of nothing but just lack of practice.
Yeah, I think you are correct on that one. Phil, sorry, James, Brad was right.
Thanks, Phil. Even though Phil forgot to welcome me and thank me yesterday during DWSC, but
thanks you today. What more do you want?
Nothing. That's fine. He said I was right and you were wrong. I feel good about that one.
Oh, yeah, but Phil, you haven't made it any easier for me up here in the booth, so I've got to be honest. Thank you very much for that one, mate. Much love to you, Phil, who I'm constantly showing love to in the YouTube chat. Clearly not now. Heath Ollinger and Scott Carlson are side by side. Ollinger just taking that third place. James Hillerick now still leading the AMs as well. And you can see in the bottom left area of your corner, it is Hillerick, and then Spencer, Ollinger, Carlson, Elliott, Dean Murray Carroll, and JT Sawyer. Now, if you're wondering why JT has dropped off, this would be why. Poor old JT, car snaps out the other way, onto the grass he goes. Lands on the service road though, so it doesn't end up in the wall. And now he's got to turn it around and get going again here. Philip De La Cruz in the pits. William Bailey in the pits. First sign of the pit stops. We're 32 minutes in.
32 minutes in, we see our first pit stops coming in. Again, 60% fuel load in these GT3 cars. So we see the first pit stops here, and a little bit earlier than I expected. I was thinking they'd run out another 10 minutes or so, but going in clearly for fuel only through looking at Felipe De La Cruz's pit time. So I believe that is going to be fuel, and William Bailey's going up. So it looks like Bailey is up, down, all around, and 58 minutes of laps on the wall as he goes through and comes out. Where does he come out? Well, that is the million-dollar question. But yeah, pit stops a bit earlier than I expected. And did something happen to Felipe De La Cruz?
Yeah, he went into the pits. He went into the pits. I haven't seen. Oh no! Hold on. Oh no! Is this just? I'm hoping this is just the fact that it's a slow pit lane, and this corner makes it even slower rather than De La Cruz actually
doing what we think could have happened here.
No, I think it was just the fact it was slow. Yeah, because now it's flagged.
Okay.
Now it's flagged up. Bailey's done the same thing, and he hasn't. He's just literally slow on that one. Ryan Merriam still leading the race. He's got 7 seconds out in front. Gainzell, Tidwell, Price, Modric, and Bolton all in together. So this is going to be a race off pit lane for Tidwell, Gainzell, Quinton Price, and Barry Acker is just gone through. He's just taken third place here. Race on pit lane between all of these guys. Who's going to come out and take this one? And Hoskins is going to go through. Chapman's going to go through. There you go. They've just gone on the right-hand side there. But it is Price, Gainzell, Tidwell, Bolton, all three in the Pro-Ams. And there is a mover in the Audi. That is Gainzell first. Tidwell, then Price, I think. Yep, Tidwell in the Lambo. Price in the BMW. Modric has just come out. So for Quinton Price, he's still behind Tidwell and Gainzell on that one.
Yeah, and that is kind of to be expected. They get everything sorted and smooth, and they're exiting the pits now. And I think the big key is going to be how hard do you drive on this outlap? How much do you put in? Do you try to close something up? Do you try something different? Or are you going to be, kind of going nice and smooth and trying to just make sure you don't come out in a big mix of traffic? Because if you look there at that track map on the top right, it looks like the leaders mid-pack there in Pro-Am have exited out into an absolute sea of traffic.
Riley's up. Riley's up on the jacks.
You
can see him in front. He's off the floor. So now he's gone back down again. Lovins hasn't gone up, mind you. Oh, Lovins went down as well. So yeah, both of them up and down. Oh, no, on the jacks.
Taking tires. Interesting. I really thought that we wouldn't see tires till the second pit stop. I really thought that a lot of drivers might try to, capitalize on time and just take fuel only on the first pit stop just to try to earn some position and close some gaps. But no, we see that a lot of guys have opted to go for the longer pit stop and go up on the jacks and take tires.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel surprised. Anything over an hour, you generally would take tyres, right? And the leader's going to be in, so Ryan will show us how it's done and whether or not he's going to take tyres here. Generally, over an hour, you would take tyres, because especially at a hard track like Misano, I think that would be the thing. You would definitely look at taking tyres. We're going to wait for this cycle to run out. I just want to see if Merriam goes up on the jacks. And is he going to go fuel tyres, or is he just going to be on? Hasn't moved yet. It looks like Heron has. Heron's up on the jacks. Merriam is not. You can see
who is high revving? I think Merriam was holding the throttle open there while he was in the pit lane. That was weird.
Well, Merriam definitely has not had tyres. We saw Heron with tyres. So how much of that is going to play a part coming in later on? Jeremy Cheney in the Corvette is still there. I thought it was another pit crew not working, but it was just the pit lane. It was, Phil, yes. As these guys are going into the pits after yesterday's VWFC, of course, where we had somebody not end up getting fuel due to the fact that their pit lane crew decided not to fill them up, Brad.
I've never seen that happen before, and I can't explain how frustrated I would be. And of course, we talked to the driver that happened to, and he was very upset in that. So I'm not surprised at all in that situation. Down in Pro-Am, it looks like Kenny is about to lose the lead in Pro. No, never mind. He comes out with 8 seconds the gap on Williams. So he's actually made up a bit of time, it appears, there in the Pro-Am battle. 8 seconds, not the gap. 2.5 seconds the gap. Of course, the pit lane exits into the corner, so you got to watch it a little bit there on the exit. But 1.9 seconds now the gap, 1.5 the gap. Kenny might be under a lot more pressure than he was before the pit stop cycle, because there's no cars between, and it looks like Williams is going to have just a straight clean run on him.
Yeah, it's now going to be a Williams-Bourgeois battle. Gainsell, Tidwell still ahead of Price, still not got enough points, mind you. I think Tidwell's got 7 points to make up, which means he's got to be 7 places ahead of Quinton Price, and currently he's only 1 place ahead of Quinton Price. So at this moment in time, Quinton Price Quinton's not really got to do anymore. He can stay where he is, because Bourgeois not in the championship, Williams not in the championship, Gainsell's not in the championship either. So for him, he can just still be where he is. You know, Bourgeois, we're talking 19 places. He's got to be in front of Dudkowski, right? And he isn't. He is no more than 6. So for Price, just drive now where you're at, drive within your limit, and you should win this season's championship, right? That's how it should work out. And Williams and Dudkowski. Now, however, in the AMS situation, that is a little bit more complicated, because Hilaric is leading the AMS, but again, he is 10, 15 points behind Daniel Marie, which means Daniel's got to be 15 points behind, 15 places back. And at the moment, James is in 20th, Daniel's in 28th, which is only 8 places. However, Gary Spencer is only 1 point behind Daniel and is currently 5 places in front of him. So if it works out as it is working out right now, Gary should wrap up the AM Championship, okay? Please don't take this as golden, because I am doing this on the fly, Brad. I think that's what people at home need to remember.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing is I feel like people at home might be able to do the math a little bit quicker than we can, and a little more accurate than we can. We're doing this on the fly. we're comfortable in our results. We're confident.
Yeah.
However, we do not claim for this to be the script and the truth. You know, we add a little bit to it.
I used to work in a school teaching kids maths. I know what I'm doing. At times.
Thank you, James. Thank you for throwing that in there. I appreciate you saying it, so I didn't have to.
Yeah, there are times I get it completely peaked on, and literally end up making something completely up in my head that I thought was going to be correct, and it never actually turned out to be right. But listen, that's roughly where we're at this moment in time. Okay, don't forget, in the pros it's a different story. Joshua Heron is leading the championship over Sean Riley. So as Heron, mind you, they're only 1 point difference. So at the moment, they're only 1 place difference. So that could be a little bit more complicated to work out by the end.
Yeah, that one is going to be referred to someone who makes a lot more money than I do to make those decisions, because that is not one that I'm going to want to work out, because if my math is correct, at 10:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, they would be tied if they finish where they're at right now, which, based on the pace and consistency, would not be unsurprising. So that will be referred over to a countback. And that is something I don't have the results of in front of me. So somebody else will be able to answer that one. But as it sits right now, they would be tied in points, which would be interesting, because I don't think OGRL will declare 2 winners to the season here in the Coffee Cup Series. They might, but I don't think that would be what they would want to do.
Okay, well, yeah, there's a little bit of information that we might have just forgotten out of the 90-minute races, is that 90 minutes races will be worth 12 extra points. So where normally it's 61 for the win, it's going to be 73 for the win, then 72, 71, all the way down the order, all the way through the field, right? Which makes it a lot easier. To be honest, it's not going to change anything. They're just worth more points. It is not currently going to change the positions of the championship as it stands right now. So as they are as they are. All right, so there we go. Dan Murray and Mike Elliott. Dan's just gone up the inside. He's got Joey Mines 4 second up the road in that Porsche, of course, was involved in the incident on lap 2, I think it was, or 3, that where him and Dan got caught up in that one. So yeah, for Joey's now 28th, Dan's 29th. 5th and 6th in class, as you can see on the left-hand side. We'll see how they keep moving and whether or not they're going to keep going forward. As there's a Corvette in there somewhere. That is Mike Elliott, but who is that BMW? That's Purser, isn't it? I believe
that is indeed Purser and the wannabe Lexus going through. So cars are starting to lap cars, which, you know, in a single category of car isn't something you see often, but that is, you know, there is the slight race pace difference. So, and, you know, we're half distance. We're starting to see a few cars get lapped. We've lapped all the way up to P23 now, it appears our leader has. So we'll see how this continues through and how many cars finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye out and see what they get on here as well. Stacey in YouTube chat. Great announcing, guys, as well. Great announcing. Thank you very much for that one. Stacey, I'd like to think that we have a rough idea what we're talking about. Joey's entered in the pit lane again, so he's going to go in behind Dan, come out behind Mr. Murray, out in 5th in class here. Dudkowski has got Gainzel Williams. This is a pro and pro-am situation. Do you know what I think would, if they could get these with on the cars as well, is decals on the cars to match the colours of where they're at in class. Do you know what I mean? Class decals across the windscreen banner or number board or something.
It's typically the end plate of the wing is where you would see that sort of situation. So I've been trying to look. Some cars are more compliant to that than others. Some of them are sort of there, but typically it's going to be the end plate of the wing. But I do agree. I think a bigger decal would be nicer. It'd make it a little bit easier to see. But yeah, I'll keep eyes on that, because I know in IMSA a lot of times it is just the wing end plate that dignifies your class. So we'll see who's compliant to that and who isn't, because as you can see, Merriam's not, Riley's not. Going back, Heron is definitely not. Neither is Bradley Lovings. Bill Baca up in P5, I think that Corvette had the right end plates, and I was completely wrong, is they're just plain white there on the back of that car.
None of them do.
Then we have a couple of them do, I believe.
Not.
So
I think if they've got
I
think if they've got colours, it's complete and utter chance that they've matched up.
Kenny has a very distinct Pro-Am logo there on that back wing. But it is, again, on the back wing. It's not easy enough to see for anything else. But it is there, so I was sort of right. There's a couple of people doing it. Looks like Cheney is doing that as well there on that wing end plate. I bet if we look on the side, it'll say Pro.
Yeah, not going to be able to get that one. I don't think I've got quite the camera option to go and look around the car.
There we go. Maybe.
I don't think that says Pro. I think that's stickers. Stickers!
It might be, but it's yellow.
Yeah, well, at least it matches the colour, I suppose. But maybe I'll put that forward to Bradley Lovins next season and say, yeah, mate, can we match up? Who's going? Let me know first off who's changing classes, because that's kind of a big thing for my software. And then can we match up the something on the cars? That would be absolutely amazing. And then I reckon that would finish off this series quite nicely. Yeah. And yeah, I think overall we have seen some good racing. We're kind of in. This is the F1 Monaco part of the race, right? And I say that, I don't know if anybody does this, but I do this quite a lot when I'm watching Monaco or generally F1 races, is I watch the first 10 laps and then I'll fall asleep, or I'll eat my Sunday dinner and then I'll fall asleep with a big full belly like a bear hibernating. And then I'll wake up 10 laps from the end when it gets a little bit exciting, right? This is basically where we're at in this race at this moment in time, because everybody's done their pit stops. Cheney and Williams are having a little bit of a ding-dong, with Dadkowski trying to make it free wide there. Probably not the best idea. Gainesau has just gone up the inside of Cheney as well, so Cheney's made a big old mistake and lost 3 places there, unfortunately for Jeremy Cheney. But do you get what I mean, Brad? It's that middle part of the racing where they've settled down a little bit, not everything goes on, and there might be one battle like this that we're focusing on to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of traditional with most longer races, unless it's NASCAR that loves to manufacture a crash every 20 laps for whatever reason.
Back up, Silla. They don't always manufacture a crash just to me. What NASCAR will do, and this drives me crazy, mind you, is when there isn't a crash or a stage break or something like that, they'll go to an advert. And it's constant adverts. It does my bananas in. Unfortunately, I can't. Well, we could just turn around and say, right, we're going to go off for 5 minutes. See you later, boys. And, off we go. But, that's the thing, don't they? They go for breaks and they go silent and they go watch adverts for 10 minutes and stuff like that. So they break up the longer runs when they do happen. And they do happen more than what Brad's, saying here. In fact, let's put this one to the test. Brad, when was the last race you watched of NASCAR?
Well, I didn't watch last night.
Right.
Trying to think.
If it's got to
put me on the spot.
Yeah, well, I have, because I'm proving a point. If he's got to think about it, it happened a long time ago. Okay, you know what I mean? If somebody could sit there and go, "Oh yeah, I watched it yesterday" or whatever, then you know full well that they've obviously been paying attention. Me, it's been a couple of weeks since I last watched a race, unfortunately, and it's just one of them things. I've just been too busy to sit back and actually watch NASCAR at the moment. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on bar what I'm doing here, so I've been a bit manic, so I haven't watched a race for a couple of weeks. And in fact, I think I caught the last highlights I believe they were at Michigan, and yeah, Michigan International for the Firekeepers Casino 400. That was the last highlight session I managed to watch.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've watched a good NASCAR race, so I will concede the point to you there, but I still feel like every time I've ever watched NASCAR lately, it is advertisements every other lap. Yeah, every other lap, it's, we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to go to a commercial break. Yeah, the adverts do my bananas in. But I suppose if you get longer runs on cars that turn left, right, and it's that conceding that at points on the race circuit, NASCAR gets a little bit boring,
right? And it can do. I announce it, I drive it. Trust me, it can get boring. And oh, Bowen! Oh, I just looked. He was doing so well at one point, and he was just closing in on Chaplin there in front of us. And then, unfortunately, he went and did this in that Ferrari.
That's just the rear end giving up grip. That is all that was. That
Stop.
wasn't.
Oh.
And he's still not done. He's still not done. Give him a second.
Give him a minute. Take a break. Take a break. Give the commercial.
There we go. Now he's
there we
back
go.
on track.
But it's, yeah, unfortunately for Mark there, just going round on that. Jonathan Williams leading the Pro-Ams now. Gainesville, Tidwell, Price still doing what he needs to do. As long as he's within a couple of spaces of Price, he'll be there. Barry Acker and Kenny Bourgeois into the pits. I'm expecting Bourgeois to take tyres again. And I would say that because of the fact, oh, there you go, he's got Pro-Am on his bumper.
Did something happen to Kenny?
Yeah, he went
I
off.
see he had an off track somewhere.
Yeah, he had an off track.
Yeah, he's way down the order compared to where he had been, so.
Was this on his own doing though? That's, oh, that car's coming. Oh, yeah, on a straight.
Yeah. Oh,
Bro!
who is that?
Mike Elliott. On a straight. You crashed on a straight. That is poor.
He just. Oh my goodness me.
That's both.
Well,
that's both ways. That's both ways. That's not just one. They're both.
That's why I'm.
They're both responsible for that. One could have gave a lot more room, but you certainly do not crash on a straight, especially if you've got the whole of the left-hand side of the racetrack to go. And that clearly shows that there was a little bit of misjudgment from both of them problems. I can give you a rundown on Nick Marshall. PC VR problems this morning, so he had to withdraw from the race for Nick. So that's why Nick Marshall did not take to the start on that one. Again, we rely on technology all the way through everything we do, and I rely on lots of multiple different things here. In fact, to be honest, I think if a lot of you could see what I look at when I broadcast, you would be all pretty amazed at how I get through. But, you know, it is what it is. It's relying on technology, Mr. Bradley Dalton.
That's very true, and you know, some people think that it's just a case of sitting and the wipers are on that Mercedes AMG. I don't know why, as he runs very, very wide, staying out of the way. That is Daniel Moore, who is just saying, you know what, I'm gonna get well out of the way of this battle. Everybody get around me, and I'll just give plenty of space. Very respectable adherence to blue flags there, as you have Jonathan Williams there with Dudkowski just behind, getting his way through some lap traffic. But yeah, James, it's interesting, the technology we rely on, both as racing and as commentators. So if you've ever seen any of the big name iRacers, you know, live streaming, and you look at their setups, it's like a cockpit of a fighter jet. It's amazing what they have. They have button boxes, they have this, they have that. You know, Moza Racing just came out with turnstocks that you can add to your wheel.
What?
So, yeah, they just announced that. It's a attachment that you can put on any wheelbase that will work. It connects via USB, and it gives you wipers, it gives you a turnstock, it gives you cruise control if you want it. It's amazing the length that, you know, these drivers can go to. But even on the commentator side, I know what your setup looks like because I've seen pictures of it. And of course, my setup it's not as sophisticated, but it is something similar that we have going on. You know, I have audio mixer, I have a stream deck, I've got 3 monitors, and one of the monitors is split up into 2 monitors. That way I can have everything that I need just to, you know, bring this along and bring this around. There's a lot that goes into this, and, you know, it's all in the name of the game of bringing fun sim racing forward.
I agree. Craig Jones, welcome in, Mr. Jones. Oh, racing, he says. Well, yeah, it's kind of what we do on this channel. Barry Acker just lets Bradley Lovins go through there as well. All the things to say, he comes and goes, oh, racing on that. Are you not at work today, Mr. Jones? Or are you sat at home with your good lady wife there as well? There's not. Do you know this is it's kind of like the pressure cooker, you know, where you know something's going to happen, and at the moment the cooker and the pot is just bubbling nicely. I'm waiting for the pop, I'm waiting for the fireworks, I'm waiting for something to happen here as well that's going to basically make this erupt into the race that I think we've got heading towards us here as well. Shh, I'm meant to be working, says Greg. Oh, okay. That means he's sat in his office doing not a lot at the same time there. So, yeah, I'm waiting for the fireworks. And we've got the Gainesville, Dudkowski, Williams. Personally, for Williams, I'd let Dudkowski go. I know it's fighting, then you're left with Gainesville, but at least you might have a more opportune moment, Brad, I suppose. It's a Kenny Bourgeois, Philippe Delacruz moment again.
Yeah, and you know, I think the pressure cooker analogy is really the best. We know something's going to happen. We know something's going to pop off. We just don't know exactly when or where, but we know it's coming. And we've got to just, you know, sort of sit in and rely on the patience of that happening here. Williams, Dudkowski, and Gainesville, they have been very reliable, though, for on-screen action. I tell you what, these guys are getting their money's worth of track time and of screen time as they go through. We go through Joey Means here in the back in that Hendrick Cars Porsche. I do like the Hendrick livery on the Porsche with the Valvoline top. I do really like it, and that's not just because I like the color scheme, but I do also like that, you know, we're seeing a variety of liveries and paint schemes here, and not just, you know, the classic IMSA ones. Even though the classic IMSA ones are nice, we see drivers kind of showing the different things they support, as well as we see Joey Means here moving his way forward. He's P6 and AMs. He's nice and smooth and consistent, which again, that's all the key things that you've got to do to survive this race, with almost 2/3 race distance underway here, James.
Yeah, I was just going to see what was going to happen with him and JT Sawyer, but JT gave it up a little bit easy, to be blatantly honest with you. He didn't make that too hard for Joey to get through. So, yeah, I was a little bit surprised that JT gave it up so easily. This is the closest battle. This is the Williams, Dudkowski, Gainesville situation. Obviously Dudkowski there behind in that pink Roxy machine with Williams. They're on the run up that start, up the long back straight into Curva Quacharia, I think it said. Yep. On the left-hander before they go down in Tramonto, which is the right-hander here as well. It's interesting, Brad, I don't know if you do 90-minute races or if you've ever done 90-minute races, have you?
I have. I've done several endurance races. Typically, it's going to be running like GT4s or something. I'm not the fastest racer yet again, which is why I tend to attribute my skills to the commentary booth, which tends to be the story for most commentators. If you don't make it as a race car driver, you can be a commentator all day. Or if you retire out of racing, you're a commentator. So I tend to bring my skills to the booth. But yes, I have done some endurance racing. I've done 8 hours at Barcelona. I've done some different things. You know, it's enjoyable. It's fun. It does present some unique challenges that you don't think about. For me specifically, when I ran the 8 hours, I had 2 teammates, and the one thing I didn't think about was we ran 2-hour stints, or we ran 90-minute stints. And the one thing I didn't think about was, what if you have to use the bathroom 20 minutes into your 90-minute stint?
Cut a hole in your chair and put a bucket underneath you. Free to do whatever you want then.
You're not wrong. However, I don't know that that would have worked for me, but you know, that's
just saying, you're free to do whatever you want.
I was also live streaming it, so
yeah, but can people see your waist?
I mean, they could see me. I had, you know, 2 or 3 cameras on me.
Yeah, but is that your head, your body, or your, you know, your whole? Is it just your head they saw, or did they see all of you?
I mean, they were seeing like chest up, and then I had a camera that was pointed at the wheel, and where you could see the wheel and pedals. So, I mean, technically no, but also I don't think it would have been close, and I don't want to risk it. You know, I'm not trying to get, you know, banned from Twitch for needing to use the bathroom.
Well, hey, listen, you know what I mean? There's all sorts of things that go on Twitch, and you know, whatever, weird people making very weird noises and down microphones and stuff all of this sort of very bizarre stuff that I've not watched for a while, and I haven't actually been on Twitch for ages, but it was yeah, very bizarre the last time I ventured to even think about looking at anything on Twitch.
It's kind of a scary world, I'm not gonna lie. It's a scary world. I haven't been there in a little bit myself. And for the record, yes, I said I live streamed my 8-hour race. Do not go searching for that. Do not go searching for that. Hopefully you won't find it, but if you do find it, I don't need to be reminded how horrible of a driver I was.
What was the Twitch name?
Not answering. People who have followed me for a long time are going to be able to find it fairly easy. They'll know where it's at. It was not on any of my personal socials. It was as representative as part of a team effort that I ran with some really good friends who, again, are much faster than me, which is why I was the teammate to start the race. I was the slowest one, and of course I got absolutely binned by the race leader going through a corner because I was getting lapped. I left him plenty of room, and well, he tried to take a draft and spun me on a straightaway. And that was about 30 minutes into our 8-hour excursion.
I just hear a list of Craig Jones excuses as well. Craig's great for bringing them up out of his pocket when he needs them. But Hoskins, Chaplin, they've got Hillarick in front, who I'm pretty sure is going to hope that these two do not get anywhere near him. Chaplin just made a mistake. Hoskins is going to go through. That's Gary. That's not Gary Spencer. That is Mike Elliott, who was involved with a Kenny Bourgeois on the straight crash as well. Both men could have given a lot more, well, I say one man could have given a lot more room on the left than he did there, but one also wasn't on the circuit, so therefore shouldn't have really tried to command any room to come back on the race circuit. If you're off it, it's your job to get back on it safely, mind you. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But I think at the moment, 28 minutes. It seems we've got a couple that have 2 stopped. I'm just wondering if we're going to see a few more coming in on the 2 stops, Brad.
I would think we would. I don't know why we wouldn't. Also, what happened to Brian Dudkowski? Am I missing him somewhere?
Pit lane.
Okay. I was looking and I was trying to find him for a second and I couldn't find him, so I wasn't sure what had happened to him. So I'm gonna think at least a majority of the drivers are going to be doing 2 stops. I'm going to be shocked if anyone makes it the remaining 28 minutes through without doing another stop. I don't know that anyone can, really. I would think that we would start seeing more cars into the pits by now. But again, I could be wrong. I'm trying to do this on the fly, so don't take what I say as gold. It is indeed very, very tarnished bronze.
Yeah, we've got Quinton Price now with Tidwell. And again, Quinton just needs to kind of stay where he is at this moment in time. Unless Tidwell makes a mistake, I wouldn't really be pushing this situation for Quinton, if I'm honest with you. He is leading that championship and will wrap up that championship if he stays where he is. One man that looks like he will not stay where he is and is losing hand over fist time at the moment is young Mr. William Bailey in that Ford Mustang, and this is why William Bailey.
That was weird.
That's new.
And then
Blacked
stop
out?
in the... Yeah, I don't know, and then just...
VR blackout?
I can only assume because he stops in the middle of a circuit. And you wouldn't stop there unless you just don't know where you're at on track.
Yeah, that's... And I'm coming off that fast corner. You definitely would not stop in the middle of the race circuit because you don't know. He's still there.
Yeah, what is... That is such a dangerous place. There he went. Okay. And he's back to pits. I was about to say, that is such a dangerous place to be sat that long, too. It's a wonder nothing more serious happened. Something's happened with JT Sawyer, though. Is that him just coming out of the pits? No, I don't believe so. I don't know what's happened to him.
No, JT's at a moment in his own in that vet. It's going to be a funny feeling. I've just tried to find out from William what went on there. JT goes round, unfortunately for him.
Solo spin.
Yeah, solo spin, signature of the Corvette. It does have its moments where its back end likes to come around the front. So there you go. Purser, Cruz again. If there's one man that's got some aggressive body language, it's that man. And like that.
Oh, man. I mean, I got to give Cruz like a B+ for effort. I mean, if he wants to go for a pass, he's going to go for a pass, but I got to give him like a C- for execution, because I feel like every time we've been on him and we've seen him, you know, put that pressure in for a pass and get halfway up there, then he slides or something happens and that Audi doesn't stay compliant and he doesn't get the pass done. And that seems to just be
aggressive.
Yeah, that's the story of Felipe De La Cruz. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate, you know, the effort he's putting in to get that pass done, but he just hasn't been able to, you know, convert every time he's tried for it. But it's not stopping him. I mean, I will say that, you know, not stopping him from winding up and trying, which I can respect and appreciate. So we'll see him try it here again on Purser, and Purser's just doing exactly what he needs to do in that wannabe Lexus. He is just staying smooth and consistent and comfortable and just keeping things moving forward as best he can. He's, you know, putting all the right blocks in all the right places, as we can see. And for Felipe De La Cruz, again, it's the same thing we watched forever ago with Kenny, where he kept trying to put passes around the outside, force a pass through the inside. And unfortunately for him, this isn't mixed class. This is for position. So I would say Purser's going to make it a lot more difficult on him.
I agree. Price is in the pit lane. Now he has to rely on the fact that Tidwell is going in as well. How many points did I say? It was 7 between Tidwell and Price. So we need... Price is 14th, Tidwell's 12th at the moment. Oh, no, Price has gone down 16th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price is on the pit exit. He's going to rely on Tidwell having to go in there, I think, on that one, Brad, because I can tell you one thing, he doesn't need to be losing any more spots than what he's already got there.
He doesn't need to be, but I think, unfortunately, he's going to, so we'll see how that ends up there. Sean Riley's into the pits, so we're starting to see a lot more of these second pit stop cycles here with 23 minutes to go, and I would think that the entire field will pit at least once something big has happened back with Quentin Price, possibly. Or is that just him coming out of the pits too? I keep seeing things with the timing software. It keeps triggering and labeling a lot of crashes, and I keep thinking somebody's wrecked, but no, it's indeed just them coming out of the pits.
I think it's just the slow, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
It's just so slow.
Yeah, it's just it picks up that they think they've gone slowly out of the pit lane there. Bit of a worry though, because I can tell you now, Bradley Tidwell is coming in to the pits, so Price has got to get his wriggle on, and he's quite far back away here. He has got Tidwell's in 12th, Price is in 19th. That's his 7 places he can afford to lose for Quentin Price, so he needs to get on a little bit and try and get a little bit closer. Pit lanes for the second stop, round about that minute 2, minute 5 stop time. So he is, what's Tidwell? De La Cruz is on his way out. Tidwell's on his way out as well. Quentin Price may have just done a boo-boo.
He might have. We'll see how things go, because he's coming around down the main straight now. Yeah, no, he's going to have to find a lot more time as we go around here for Price to really, really make a difference. I don't think he's going to have near enough, so...
Where is he? He's coming out. There's somebody in the middle. I think that's the confusing thing. There's Dean Murray Carroll there in the middle in that Porsche. Tidwell is there in the Lambo. So Price is 2 places. He managed to get 2 places within within Tidwell. So Tidwell's in 14th, Price is in 16th, so he's still got enough points to wrap up the championship. Same with Heron over Riley at the moment. Heron has still got enough to take the championship here currently. And in the AMS, it is still Gary Spencer, who is all the way up in 13th place, has got more than enough over Daniel Morey, who is unfortunately all the way down in 29th.
Yeah, and Morey down in 29th. It's, you know, everyone has their day, everyone has their race, everyone has, you know, a good time through. It looks like, unfortunately for Morey, this is probably not going to be the best race for him. And I hate to say it, but when you're fighting with Gary Spencer by 1 point and you are that many positions difference, it's kind of unfortunate. I'm not going to lie, to see that that is where things, you know, end up here. Everyone has their day, and sometimes you really just need it to be your day. Unfortunately, I think for Mr. Daniel Morey, with 19 minutes to go, this is not his day. Oh! Gary Spencer almost making it not his day there, trying to get around the number
Mike
12
Elliott,
Corvette of Mike Elliott,
who seems to have had his fair share of moments.
He has indeed.
Spencer's
man.
only been in for one stop, mind you. Spencer's not had two, so I'm expecting him to go in at some point. Tidwell, D. Murray Carroll has had two and moved himself up in 17 places into 14th. Barry Acker is there. Bourgeois is down in 7th now after being involved with Elliott. But now it's Murray Carroll, Tidwell and Gary Spencer. So we'll keep an eye out and see how these guys get on once more.
Yeah, and Gary Spencer should be pitting here soon, and when he does, that's going to really make things interesting between him and Moore. We'll see where they come out. Merriam's into the pits, up from the lead, and it looks like Josh Heron might be going into the pits here soon as well. So your de facto race leader is Sean Riley at the moment, it looks like. Depending on where he is at on track compared to the leaders.
He's a long way around the race circuit. He's coming up through cover one. Merriam is stopped. Heron is stopping.
Merriam might have enough of a gap then to actually pull this off. Depends on how much longer he's stationary here as we go, because
he's on his way out.
Riley's coming around.
Yeah, but his pit lane's so long and so slow. Unless Heron's now moving, this is gonna be... Where are you, Ryan? You're there. Have I got a dynamic air? No, can't get the camera up in the air, unfortunately. There is Merriam. There is Riley. Here is Heron, and Riley's gonna get in front of Heron, coming out of this second pit lane cycle. So Sean Riley is sitting in 3rd place now. Bill Backer's leading the way, but Bill's got one more stop to go.
Yeah, and of course, Merriam getting ahead by 5 seconds now. So Mr. Ryan Merriam doing everything to perfection there. I thought that was a lot closer than it actually was. And now it's just a 17-minute little sprint to the end, and that is a lot more manageable to look at as a driver. If you're Merriam, you go, okay, 17 more minutes, just keep doing what I'm doing, just keep being nice and smooth and consistent through. Purser is on his way out of the pits as well. Hanlett is in the pits, and I tell you what, James, I think we're hitting that 15-minute sort of pop-off moment where things like to get very competitive here near the end. I see Price and Gainzell are battling. You've got Acker here battling with Champlin and Kenny, and yeah, we've hit that point in the race where all the action is going to start to pick up yet again.
Yeah, I think this is the moment. Apparently Tidwell has got Quinlan Price 5 seconds back. Quinlan's got Gainzell on the inside. You don't need to do... you don't need to be doing stuff like that. I appreciate you wanting to, and I get that, but you kind of are still winning the Pro-Ams. Backer's just gone into the pits. Hillerick is back in front in the AMS with Gary Spencer, who's still ahead of Daniel. Daniel is there, and in fact, if I'm not mistaken, Spencer isn't too far away from lapping him.
almost a lap difference between them, just a handful of seconds. That's well, I think that cements some of our questions in terms of the AMs, unfortunately. So unless Gary Spencer has a big moment here, that might cement things through as we see Price getting his way around there, actually getting past.
That's
I'm sorry about
Gainesville.
Gainesville.
That is position, but I don't think from if anybody can get a message to him, he doesn't really have to be fighting, because he's got those 7 points, point gap over Tidwell. And although Tidwell is only 2 in front, he's still obviously, 5 points clear, give or take, coming into the end of this race. So he doesn't really need to be doing anything drastic, and he just needs to be where he is at the moment. Now, obviously, that is us doing maths, so please take it with a pinch of salt, but that's roughly where we're looking at here, I think, on this one, Brad, as well. Hanalave just passed Ollinger. So that was down here for 24th and 25th. Ollinger is now just been lapped by Williams and Dudkowski. And Williams in the orange there, or white and black, and Dudkowski in the pink, just lapping the green of the Roxy and Rexy.
Yeah, and I like seeing those two on track together. It's very fun, even though the positions are so wide and different. Looking at the championship as it stands here, James, so it is going to be...
Oh, dearie me. Have you done maths?
I've tried to do math. So it is going to be, it looks like, Quentin Price in the Pro-Ams. Yep. Again, as we've said, he doesn't need to do a lot. He can kind of stay stationary. Spencer is going to overtake Daniel Moore for the AMs. But in the Pros, Heron or Riley, one or the other, need to do something because they have a 1 point difference, and currently they are just flipped P2 and P3, Riley over Heron, but it's Heron over Riley in the standings. So something somewhere needs to happen with one of them. One of them needs to get past Merriam or something. I don't even know what needs to happen because that is really where we're going to start seeing the big question. I don't know who's going to end up in Pros, but really we need to see Heron put the pressure down for the next 13 minutes, but he's 2 seconds back, and I don't know that he's going to.
I think it's too far. I think unless Merriam throws it away, I don't think Riley is going to get there, or Heron might not even get to Riley. So, we'll leave them. I think that will go back to count back on who's won the most races on that one. And if you give me a second here, it's probably the only web page I didn't open was the stats page, and I will go and find that out about who is where and who is not where when it comes to the stats on the scores, Mr. Dalton.
Yeah, and as you're looking that up, we're riding on board here with Michael Champlin, who is chasing down Kenny and is doing very, very well, actually. I like seeing just how hard this Porsche is handling. You can see the different lines he's taking over Kenny Bourgeois as they go through and move. But again, that Mustang, you see how wide it is, especially from the back here. It's very, very hard to sort of set up any sort of a pick pass to make it work. But, I mean, he's trying, doggone it. He's absolutely trying. And you see he's backed off a little bit here because he got right on the back, didn't get the pass done. He's going to back off a little bit here and try to look for another way to go.
I've lost that. That's really confused me now because I had the link and now I can't find it. But I'll let you know on who finished ahead of who the most amount of times. I know David Van Rooy's been in here. Riley's won a couple. I know Merriam and Heron, they've swapped. So I will try and find where that is. That is really confusing me.
I'm not sure either. Let's see.
All right. Oh, we'll find it, Brad. I won't worry too much. We will find it.
Yeah, I'm sure one of us will find it here between the two of us. I don't know. I don't know. I don't actually have a good question or good answer here. I'm Actually, I do have my answer. Winners this season: David Vinroy twice, Ryan Merriam once, Joshua Herron once, Sean Riley once.
So that's 5 races with this one.
Yes.
Okay.
And Riley and Herron have each won once.
So we can't even go to countback.
I don't know what to say to that one.
But
I
it can't go to countback, because obviously if they both won once, it's going to be a tie on the countback. So unless they go back to most podiums, I guess, maybe, possibly. If anybody at home will let us know which way that goes, please, please type in YouTube chat and let us know which way it will go, on whether or not it will go to countback or...
I mean, wow. Like, I don't even know how to respond to that, honestly, because that's so... It goes to show how close the racing has been all season, though.
Yeah, it does,
like,
but I think that's the point. Now, where are they going to go? If it's going to be one, if it's going to be... They've all won one race, and looks like Merriam's going to wrap this up, so it's going to have nothing to do with the Riley Herron situation. What are they going to do? How are they then going to do countbacks on there? Are they going to be looking at you know, who's got the most podiums, or who isn't, who hasn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what you look at with that, honestly, because that has absolutely blown my mind. I did not expect that to be that close, honestly.
Well, that's a good job that me and Brad ain't got to worry about that, innit? Let's be real about it. We'll leave it up to the guys in the OGRL to resolve that situation. But we're coming into the final 8 minutes. Everything's settled down a little bit. Purser is probably in one of the closest battles with Felipe de la Cruz, maybe Mark Bolton and James Hillerick. Also within their close proximity of each other. That's probably about as close as some of these guys that we have got on track at this moment in time. So we will keep an eye out on these ones as we're heading into the final 8 minutes here as well. And you can see on the left-hand side, Merriam leading overall in the pros, with Sean Riley in second place and Joshua Herron in third. In the Pro-Ams, it's Tidwell, Gainesville, Price. As it stands, Price should wrap up the Pro-Ams for this part of the season. And then you got Hillerick, Spencer and Ollinger, which should give Spencer the overall win going into this first part of this season. Don't forget, the second part of the season starts in 2 weeks' time on the 15th of September on that one. So they will be there. I will be able to bring you up the schedule when it all gets confirmed, because at the moment, it's not confirmed as of yet.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see it confirmed and see it going through. I know we're just now wrapping the season, but I like that it's just a couple week break until the next season. It gives everyone a couple weeks to relax out, and then we go right back to it. And I really can't wait, because I think it's going to be a very, very exciting season 3 when it comes forward. I think it's going to be a lot of action, and I look forward to seeing a lot of these guys back and seeing, you know, who can capitalize on next season, who can't. Because of course, you know, if we look at Moore's going to be wanting more next season in the AMs, and possibly if he moves up to Pro-Ams. We'll see how that develops here. Purser and Cruz, and yet again, Cruz just right on the back of Purser, looking to get a pass done. 6 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here as we close out this final race of this season. And, well, Felipe de la Cruz is going to be looking to do something here, and time's running out to make this pass.
I agree. Time is running out, but we will see how they get on and whether or not they're going to be, well, hopefully the fact that how aggressive they have been, I'm hoping they're not that aggressive and both of these guys can finish the race, right? Because let's be real, they've had their moments, haven't they?
They have. And as we see, they're trying to get around this AM. They're around the outside, very clean pass. The AM lets them through nice and pretty as you please. And I think the big thing for Cruz is he wants just that extra position, and it's not even necessarily a matter of points. It's a matter of bragging rights, really, to say, you know what, hey, I finished P6, and look at me go. And again, it's just that little bit of confidence boost in the next season. But you can see how hard Philippe is having to correct the car. He's really, really overdriving this Audi, and I don't know if it's a setup issue or if it's just a driving style, but he is really, really overdriving this Audi, and it's probably got no tires left on the bottom, but he's just, you know, trying to push it as hard as he can here to the end. 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, 5 minutes on the clock now. And it's the final part of season number 1. Hillerick is there. That is Mark Bolton in front of us. You just saw Spencer getting insanely loose coming out of the right-hander there. That was down in Tremodo. And Spencer just had a big old snap on that car. He lost about a few tenths over to Mr. Hillerick, who is leading the AM situation. I want to keep an eye on Purser and also Dela Cruz here, Brad. You know, 6 weeks doesn't sound like a long old season, and I think some of these guys would obviously sit back and go, oh, I want to be on track next week, I want to be on track next week, but obviously it gives them that 2 week break to kind of get their heads right, get the admins to get all the positions of who's where, who's what, who's when, you know, in the classes as well, and it gives everybody a little bit of a break, doesn't it, in general?
Yeah, and everyone needs a little bit of a break here every once in a while, because if you think about it, running 6 weeks in a row, you know, that means that we started back in July with this, and as we go through, you know, we'll start September 15th. The next 6 weeks will take you all the way through October, and oh no! Man, was there contact? Let's see as they go through.
Yes. Where was he going?
Wow.
Oh, bro. If you're going to invent a gap, at least make sure there was a gap there for you to invent, right? I've got to be honest.
I mean,
that was going to close all day. Like,
yeah, I don't
know
what the plan was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. All I know is now Purser has dropped down into 7th in class. Felipe de la Cruz has literally only gained 1 place and is up in 6th in class. Rick Modric is having a bit of a mare in that Porsche. He's been in and around the Pro-Am situation. Price, Tidwell, Gainesville as they are. I'm trying to see if there's anything that could really sort of pop this off towards the end. Well, Spencer's now 2.5 seconds to Hillerick. Hillerick's just in the top right, just by the track map there, or bottom of your screen now, as he just goes underneath. So this still could have some oh my geez whiz Batman. Implications of the championship, but not a whole lot at the moment. But it is kind of died down out the front. There is Ryan Merriam. He has lapped everybody up to Quinton Price in 13th overall, and he's just off the back of him now with 2.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Ryan Merriam we haven't talked about him a lot today, other than when he's pit and where he's been at on track. And to be frank, for Ryan Merriam, it's probably all he wants is a nice, smooth, consistent run. This is obviously a track that works well for Ryan Merriam, and he's going to capitalize on it. Win here at the end of the season, he can take the couple weeks off and carry the momentum into season 3 here as he goes around. He's being, he's not put a foot wrong here, and I believe it will be this lap plus 1 more. We're running about 1:37 a lap with 1:50 to go. Yeah, it'll be this lap plus 1 more.
Yep, it will. And then the season 1 of part 1 will come to an end here, and we will see what goes on. But at the moment, Riley and Heron are tied on points, they're tied on wins, and then that will go to wherever OGRL now are going to make sure of how it goes from there. So we will see. Tidwell gains our Price. That should leave Price winning the Pro-Ams. Hillerick, Spencer Ollinger Mines Maury. It should go to Gary Spencer, we believe, coming into this final round. Spencer was 1 point behind Dan, and Dan is down in 27th, Spencer in 20th. So yeah, that's how it should finish off for this season. Just the count back will be the interesting part, I think, Brad, and we'll let them decide on that.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that one because I want to know how that goes. And Felipe De La Cruz is into the pits here with 30 seconds to go. So it looks like Felipe De La Cruz into the pits here. He will lose that position through, and looks like maybe drop a couple more positions as it stands too. He drops all the way down into P9. So some drivers having to do last second pit stops there and get gas right at the very end here as our leader crosses, takes the white flag, and it is one more lap. Barney in the background waving the white flag, him and his twin brother Barney.
Was there two Barneys?
There were two Barneys. There was one standing off to the side and one in the actual box.
Well, go Barney. Two of them here today as well. We're lucky we've got two. As we'll have a look on the left-hand side as we go with Michael Chapman. Keep an eye on the left. There's one, there's two, and one was waving the blue flag. Oh, and no, they're both waving white. So double ups on Barney today. It makes up for the fact that when they don't appear on the racetrack at all, which has happened in multiple races.
Yeah, that's always a weird moment when that happens, I'm not going to lie. It always gets a little confusing sometimes, but of course most drivers have overlay and software and different things that will tell them what the flags are and what's going on. So, you know, it's not like real life where you actually really need to look up and pay attention to the flag color as you drive by. Sometimes you can get away with just going through. As we have Riley and Merriam here, you know, a couple seconds separating them, and then Cruz is chasing down Cheney here, and this will be one lap chance for him to get past Cruz or Cheney to try to get up into P8.
Yeah, Ryan Merriam is on his way round the final corner. He's got literally one more to go. Merriam is going to take the victory with Riley in second, Heron in third. And Ryan Merriam wins the final race of the season at Misano. The 90 minutes he led from start to finish. He's done an absolutely amazing job. Sean Riley second, Josh Heron in third. In the Pro-Ams, it is going to be Mr. Tidwell when he, well, hopefully he will get there with Mr. Gainsell behind him, and Quinton Price, who we believe has wrapped up the Pro-Ams. In the AMs, I would say it's going to be James Hillerick, but if I'm not mistaken, he is coming around the final corner, so he should make it round, as, mind you, Spencer is right behind him. So the AMs finishing very close together, with Ollinger getting in third place there as well. Jeremy Cheney and Felipe De La Cruz there, Brad.
Yeah, and these two are not going to be done battling. Felipe De La Cruz is going to be looking to get that pass done. Dive up the inside. We've seen this once before. Felipe De La Cruz is going to push Jeremy Cheney a little wide, and Jeremy giving plenty of room, and Felipe De La Cruz will get that pass done at the very end, going down onto the main straight, and Felipe De La Cruz finds 8th place as it's all said and done, as Bradley Tidwell in the Lamborghini is bringing his way around for the AMs.
Yeah, the final Pro-Ams in the final corner. Bradley Tidwell takes the victory in the Pro-Ams. Eric Gainsell is going to get second. Quinton Price, who we think has wrapped up the championship, will come over the line in third on the day, but it should be first place for him in the championship. That is everybody finished here as well, and I think there's probably going to be some very relieved drivers, and probably a couple running off to the toilet about now. Ryan Merriam is in first place with Sean Riley in second, and we've got Josh Heron in third. That's the 1, 2, 3 in the pros, and Bradley Lovins, Bill Backer, Alan Purser, Cole Modrich, Felipe De La Cruz, Jeremy Cheney, and Mr. Dudkowski. Bradley Tidwell in 11th in the Pro-Ams. Gainsell and Quinton Price is the 1, 2, 3 in the Pro-Ams. And we've got Rick Modric, Jonathan Williams, Brian Hoskins, Michael Chaplin, and Mark Bolton. Behind that, James Hillerick wins the AMS with Gary Spencer not too far apart, and Barry Acker, Dean Carroll, Padel Hanley, Heath Ollinger separating him away from third there for Heath. Kenny Bourgeois, Joey Mines, Dan Marie, and Scott Carlson round out your top 28. Mike Elliott, JT Sawyer, William Bailey, Clyde Comfort, George Parfitt, and of course Nick Marshall, Tyson Green. The bottom 5, I believe, did not finish the race here as well. So there we go. Another race over, another 6 weeks all done and dusted. We can have a chat with Mr. Sean Riley, who's come into the booth. Second on the day, we think, is going to be tied with Mr. Heron in the championship. So that could be an interesting development, as I believe both men have also won one race this season, so it's not exactly like we can go back on countbacks. But let's have a chat with Sean. He might have a better idea than me. Sean, welcome in. How are you?
Good morning. And before you ask, no, I have no idea. I need to go back and check.
That's roughly about right. You guys were 1 point away from each other. Josh in first, you in second. You finished ahead of him by 1 point, which should tie you up. Countbacks, we've got it as you both won one race. So
that sounds right. And I missed last week. I don't know if the drop. I think the drop only applies at the end of the season in February, maybe.
Okay, well let's provisionally see how these are going to work out.
Yeah.
How was it out there on the racetrack? There was a lot of lap cars there, sir.
This is the first time I'd had a race here, and looking at the qualifying times, I was starting to suspect that the field spread was going to be a little more than the average OGR weekend, and by lap 4, that proved to be the case. Leading into the race, I struggled with the track a lot myself. And I think across the field, I don't know, at least my perception was that in everybody's own way, kind of the whole field, this wasn't their favorite track. But yeah, the field spread out pretty quick and the traffic came fast.
Yeah, it definitely did, and it did cause problems for some people as well. There was a couple of accidents involved with back markers in and around you.
There was a car, I don't know who it was, there was a car sitting on the back straight right in the middle of the track.
Yes.
Parked.
Yes, there was.
I'm assuming he had a technical problem. I thankfully missed him. Hopefully everybody else did.
Yeah, I tried to find out. That was William Bailey. But I did try and find out what the situation was. I haven't heard anything back, so I'm going to hope he was okay. Mind you.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming a screen blank or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking VR headset died or screen terminated itself or something like that, because it was very weird. But going forward for you, Sean, are we going to see you a lot more regularly on? Do you think from next season? Are we going to try and get you up at the? Are you going to be here every single week?
I'm going to try. I need to go back and look at the schedule. In this segment, I missed one race, unfortunately. I was glad I was worried I was going to miss today, but managed to make it work. And I need to make sure I block off my Sundays from work as much as I can, because missing a race really sets you back quite a bit.
It definitely does. It gives you a zero drop, right, where everybody else gets a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But for today, hats off to Ryan. He drove a very consistent, fast race, and at the beginning, he just drove away from Josh and I. I was kind of surprised at the end that I was hanging on to his coattails a little bit. But I don't think, even if there was another 10 laps in the race, I don't think I would have caught him, much less passed him.
No, he did look very speedy. Well, Sean, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Look forward to seeing where you are in the championship. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
As always, I'm grateful you guys set aside time on your Sunday afternoon, I guess, for y'all to join us. It's always a lot of fun to go back and watch the race again. So I'm going to grab a cold one and go sit on the couch and see what today had in store for everybody else.
All right, man. Well, you take care, Sean, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next season, hopefully.
Yeah, take care.
All right, let's go and have a chat with James Hillerick, who did take the victory in the AMS here today. made a difference in the championship. Whether or not it made a 10-point difference over JT Sawyer for him to grab second place, I will leave that up to the OGRL admins here. But James took the win in the AMS. Joe, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, no worries at all. You know, my door's always open. You come up and have a chat, dude. How was it out there?
It's good. I actually really like this track. I feel like I felt comfortable. Obviously, to the last lap there, I got a 1 second penalty there. Almost gave it up. I think Gary Spencer was closing in on me. But yeah, it's fun track. I did a lot of practice this week, more than I ever have. Probably for a race. There's extra points here, and I felt like I might have had a shot at getting up to the top for the end of the 6 weeks, but I don't know. I had fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where you come out, to be blatantly honest with you, because you have beat some people in and around you. You beat JT, you beat Dan. So, yeah, we never know where you might be at the end of this first 6 week block here as well, James. Going forward for you, though, where do you see yourself coming into next season? We've got obviously a 2 week break now, then we go 6 weeks again. Are you hoping for more out of them 6 weeks?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, my goal coming in was to finish at least top 5 at the end of the season for the AM class here. I feel like it's an obtainable goal for sure. There's some fast guys down here, even though we're down here at the bottom, but all the guys throughout the league help, pros, pro-ams, everybody helps everybody. This is a great league. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how you where you turn out in this first 6 week championship there, James, as well. But thanks so much for joining us. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Oh yeah, the wife and kids, Bianca, Rylan, Landon, RJ, Kaylin, all 4 of them. Thanks for letting me race on Sunday mornings and practice during the week. Love you guys.
Awesome stuff. Well, James, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy, and hope to see you next season.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay. Right, and now we'll have a chat with the man that drove away at the beginning of this race. It was nowhere to be seen for him, and that is one Mr. Ryan Merriam. Ryan, welcome in, buddy. Congratulations on your win.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Yeah, it was a pretty good race there at the all in all.
All in all, pretty good race. Red led from green to checkered. Some would say almost perfect, Ryan.
Yeah, well, it was maybe looked that way, but behind the scenes, I was actually terrified. I didn't take any tires at all because I really had no idea what the proper strategy would be, and just learned Sean took some tires, and I think it showed at the end. I was starting to get a lot of off tracks on my second stints, and he was running me down pretty good, and I basically ended up. I think the last 5 laps of that race, I had 23 out of 24 incidents. So I was very close to losing it all.
Well, there you go. But you managed to make it through and come through there as well. Not really in the championship fight this season, Ryan. Do you think next season, or the next block of 6, I should say, we're going to see you a little bit more frequently?
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate I had to miss like 2 back-to-back races there, and the way the points are set up here, they're so close. It's tough to really make any ground back once you miss a couple. So hopefully, I'm just looking at the long game. It's 24 weeks, so hopefully, if I can make most of the remaining races and hope a couple guys miss a couple, here and there, I'll be there at the end.
All right, man. Well, good luck, Ryan. Congratulations on your win today. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh yeah, you guys, the usual people there, Mom, Dad, and this week I'll say Bradley, because if he hadn't upped the incident limit, I would have been SOL. So.
All right, man. Well, you take care, buddy, and we'll look forward to seeing you next season.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and have a good day.
And you. Well, there you go, Brad. That rounds out the first block of 6 races here. And then we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's going to be a long 2 weeks, but I have a feeling it's not going to be long enough for some people, and it's not going to be short enough for some people. And I'm just taking a look here at the schedule. It's going to be a very, very interesting next 6 weeks going through. And then, of course, that will get us in towards the holiday season, where the third set of 6 weeks will split around Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck to everybody as well. And thank you so much for coming into the booth. If you've been here all season long for the first 6 weeks, much appreciated. And Tarina there as well has been in every single week. Michael Riley, Stacey Merriam, Phil, of course, everybody else that has jumped in today. But for now, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to get yourselves involved, you can do. Links down in the description below to get yourself into the Discord and come and have some fun with us on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, depending on where you are in the world. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Bradley Dalton, and as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you next season. Goodbye.